Hey guys, the onslaught of weather continues here over over the last several days. It seems like the last week has been nothing but nonstop rainfall. We do have rain out there that's ongoing now, and we have one more push of rain that affects us tonight and then again into tomorrow. That should be the last one. On the flip side of this thing, we actually may get a little bit in the way of some snow. I know it's not going to accumulate or do much, but just shows you how strong the system is. This is from Rogers Avenue, looking northbound there. There's a car that's off the road. I don't know how the car crashed. They could have been on their phone, but more than likely, look at all the spray from the vehicles. I think the hydroplaning is going to be a big issue. If you've been out there today, I mean, the rainfall has just been so torrential this afternoon, and the lightning and thunder has been out of control as well. So, if you're headed out this evening, you encounter some heavy rainfall. The roadways have ponding on the roads where you've got 1, maybe 2 inches of water. You hit that when you're going about 50, 60. That's no bueno. Unfortunately, that accident just happened again. That's 540 in Fort Smith. That's looking northbound, just north of the Rogers Avenue exit, right there towards the on ramp. So let's get to radar and talk about what we're seeing, then what happens next. I've been watching the storms as they make their way on through, and generally speaking, overall, the stronger storms are located where the warm front, long and south of the warm front. So here's a big picture view first. So let's talk about what's happening, what we're going to be seeing. So we have an area of low pressure, right? And then we have this warm front, which is essentially draped. Let's see if we can use a red one. That'll be even better here. You've got this warm front, which is basically draped right through here. Now, the cooler air is on the north side of the front. Along that front, and south of the front, right in here, this is where the atmosphere is really cranky. Once you get into this area here, that's where we're talking about that possibility of dealing with tornadoes as well as some very, very large hail. North of the front, storms are going to be elevated. Elevated storms typically produce a lot of hail. They typically do not produce tornadoes just because the base is so high up into the atmosphere. So let's loop this and see what's happening here. And let's talk about who's in the clear and then what happens next. Okay. So, as far as severe weather goes, Bentonville and Rogers and Fayetteville, I know it was loud and it was wild for a little bit there with all the lightning, the thunder, and the heavy rain. We're not under a tornado threat here. The air's too cool. It's been in the 50s, almost a little chilly today. Once you get into the 70s, that's where it warms up a bit. I was just looking at temperatures across the region. It's close to like 80 degrees down there towards Hot Springs and Arkadelphia, where it's in the 50s across many parts of the Ozarks. You get into that warmer air, that's the fuel for these storms. So I do think we're in the clear here from severe weather, not from the rain. We have another round of rain coming up, but clear for Bella Vista, Bentonville, Springdale, as well as Fayetteville. Let's go a little farther southbound now and make our way into the Fort Smith area. We have been socked into the rainfall. This is a lot of heavy rain. We're not completely out of the woods in Fort Smith, but it's also not really that conducive to tornadoes. Rain, yes. Flooding, yes. In fact, I can't even imagine right now what Wheeler Avenue looks like, or even Towson, or Phoenix, or Rogers. I could probably keep going. Anywhere that floods usually is going to flood big time with this stuff just because of the amount of rain that we've seen in a small amount of time. So if I stop this here, what you can see is the greater Fort Smith area has got more showers and storms out towards Muldrow that's going to push east. The heaviest storm has been in central Franklin as well as Logan County so far. I've been watching some pockets of rotation in here, but nothing's really taken off. It has taken off out towards Clinton. These are tornado warnings out around Conway and Clinton, Arkansas, moving northeast. Let's stick to Ozark and Paris real quick first, because this is a storm that is moving into an area near the warm front. And what we have to watch out for with this are storms that get embedded in the front. They tend to zip across the warm front. Helicity is a measure of spin in the atmosphere, and the helicity is maximized along and north of the front. So anywhere in that vicinity is where we're looking at that potential for from rotating storms and also higher severe weather risk. So this is the storm right now in Coal Hill. First thing first, let's look at the possibility of any rotation in this thing. And right now, it looks as if out towards Coal Hill and Hartman, we do have some strong gusty winds that are out there, and there may be just a little bit out around the Hartman area. If I loop this, let's see how this has trended here over the last hour or so. You can see it moving in. Yeah, there's something going on. There's something cooking right in here. So this is going to be something to keep an eye on in the Coal Hill area, southwest of Hartman, and south and west of Clarksville. There's no tornado warnings on this or nothing like that, but I do think this is going to be an area that we need to keep an eye on as far as damaging winds go and the potential for any kind of rotation. So this is a storm relative velocity. This measures the wind speeds that are inside the storm. And this is the reflectivity, which basically shows you where the hail and the heavy rain is located. So as we get farther south and we get into Paris and Magazine, this is where our severe weather threat picks up. It has rained a lot, and the rain does prevent the warm front from lifting farther to the north. So, as that happens, the severe weather threat tends to get compressed farther to the south. It's not always the case. Keep in mind, Clinton, Mountain View, we've got tornado warnings right now in central Arkansas, and we have these ugly, ugly storms that have moved into the southwest part of Arkansas, out here around DeQueen and the Texarkana area. In fact, a really big storm just west of Shreveport. Matter of fact, if I turn this on, let me switch radar sites here and go into this storm here. These are tornado warnings out south of DeQueen and west of Murfreesboro and west of Nashville, out towards Locksburg and Winthrop, just to the northwest of Ashdown. Boy, that place stinks. Have y'all driven through there? That paper mill is horrendous. I stopped there once to grab a Subway sandwich, and I didn't even do it. And that was back in the $5 footlong days. So out towards Winthrop and Horatio, south of there, this is where that pocket of rotation is, and this stuff is really blowing and going. I mean, look at this. This thing is all tied up. You actually got two rotation pockets. You've got one here, and then you have one out towards DeQueen. The one near DeQueen is the strongest, and this is the one. Let's see if this thing's doing anything out towards the ground here. It's a little messy. You can't really tell on that, but that's going to be something that would be rain wrapped if it did develop. The hook is actually in this region. Now, as I take you farther south, and I know this is a long, long way away from home for us, but you can see this is a tornado out towards Gilmer and Lone Star, just south of Pittsburgh. Now, this is Texas, guys. So this is a storm that has really been cranked up this afternoon, and you can see this thing. It's through time has made its way towards the east, and look at that! Look at that thing wrapped up here on the bottom of the screen. It did produce a tornado. It's actually weakened and it's trended down as it's moved farther towards the north. But that's a pretty strong storm right up in there. The Lewis family is actually from Mount Pleasant and Dangerfield area right in here. Got one of the Lewis family cemeteries down there. Northeast Texas. Please don't hold that against me. I don't drive like Texans in Arkansas. Okay, so let's get back here at home and talk locally. I'm gonna switch back over to the radar SRX. This is Fort Smith radar. And actually, you know what? Let's go to analyst. I think analyst is going to probably give us a better view of what's happening as far as the rotation goes in the storm. So we're on the Fort Smith radar here. We're looking in towards Mina. Let me see if I can get a feel for it. That caught my eye right away, right there. Huh. Let's see. Nothing's organized there. But sometimes what I like to do when these things pop up this fast is I'll step it back through time and then I'll go forward and it looks like it may be consolidating right in there. And so what I'll usually do is go to the storm relative velocity, which is here. Remember, we're looking at this area, and then I'm going to start tilting the radar beam up. So I'm going to look and see if there's a mesocyclone or mid-level spin that's going on in the storm. So this is northwest of Mina, and the elevation I'm at with the radar beam right now is 2,800 feet. So I'm going to tilt the beam up. This goes up to where am I at? 4,000 feet now, and then a little higher up here. This is 5,900 feet. One more tilt up. Oh boy, that's messy. That's out there around 7,600 feet, and then tilt 2.4. Those are some strong winds aloft, right? So down at the surface, we don't have a tight spin, but we can tell as we lift it up, we do have, at least right here, we do have something that's starting to cook up right in that area. It looks like there may be something out here towards Mina too. Right there. Yep, sure enough. Look at that. That's a new one that has just popped up here in the last couple of frames. So this is going to be one to watch in the Mina area as the storm tracks north and northeast. So you have some that are trying to emerge. Now, these could pose threats long term towards Waldron. I don't think it gets into Boonville. I think the atmosphere's worked over here, but it could phase more to the east and then get into Danville, maybe even Russellville with time later on this evening. We've also got some tornado warnings here out towards Clinton. You can see those. Let's see if we can find the velocity on this. And recalibrate this real quick for you. There we go. Yeah, those don't look that wrapped up right now. They were earlier, but they aren't right now. There is some strong wind though. Holy moly! Out there towards Clarksville, we have got some strong winds coming in on the west side of town. That's right here out towards Coal Hill, and that's moving east northeast. I'm showing the heaviest around Hartman, and I guarantee you guys are hearing this like crazy. Subiaco, Scranton, our friends out there, out in Paris. Goodness, that's some heavy rain that's coming down too. But the strongest is this leading edge where the purple is. The hail in this isn't that big. It's about a half inch. It's the wind, really, that's the bigger problem. I don't see anything that indicates any kind of rotation. Matter of fact, if there's anything, it may be a little microburst coming down out of that, um, out towards Harmony. And these are the radar beam here is about 3,000 feet above the surface. because of the way the Earth is curved, right? So the farther you go out, the higher the radar beam gets. But those storms are those are the strongest storms to watch that are about to come into Clarksville. Let's look at hail sizes here. There's not much hail on that thing. And then let's go back to wide view. Still got some stuff in Salisaw. This is just a lot of noise. I think the atmosphere is worked over here, and I don't think we're gonna have to deal with a whole lot in Salisaw at all. And I think Fort Smith is pretty darn close to being in the clear, you guys. The atmosphere is worked over, and assuming this stuff here doesn't play any shenanigans in eastern Oklahoma and west of Pensacola, then we're going to be in good shape in Fort Smith. All bets are off in this area, though. Generally, from south of Clarksville, from Heebner east, this whole region is really the possible place to watch for rotation and maybe even some spin ups here with the storm. Actually, it wouldn't be spin ups; they would be full blown tornadoes. These are supercells. Later on tonight, it merges into a line, but by then it's over in the central part of the state and eastern part of the state, well away from the I-49 corridor. I'm gonna go back to the other radar source real quick and take another look at this thing. So here are all the active tornado warnings. Those are the ones that are flashing in red. Man, poor Jonesboro. They've look at this. Another tornado warning up here. I'd like to know how many words Ryan Vaughn at KAIT has said in the last 3 weeks. That dude has been talking nonstop. They have had so many storms. If you're ever up there in Northeast Arkansas, Ryan, he's a good friend of mine. He's awesome. He's the best source for severe weather information anywhere around the Jonesboro area and Northeast Arkansas. Northwest Arkansas, of course, we have meteorologists here. I just finished watching Scott Covert just a second ago do his weather. Actually, his first weather. When he was doing main weather, I came in here and started to play around and track some of these storms. But the River Valley area, for the most part, the greater Fort Smith region, I don't think we're going to see tornadoes out of this, guys. I do think once you get east of there, even as close as Clarksville, there is the potential for um, some rotating storms in this area too. So I'm gonna let this scan come around real quick, and then I'm gonna zoom in towards Clarksville and see what's going on in this region, see what we've got going as far as winds go. Remember, those tornado warnings are east of Clarksville now. There's a tornado warning in Conway as well as Clinton. Those are tracking north and northeastward. I'm going to get you in here to Clarksville now and show you what's happening. First thing I want to do is turn on velocity, and don't see anything that really that pops out at me as far as a tornado goes or any kind of rotation. I do see some strong winds though, and those strong winds are going to be located close to Union City, out near Sulphur Springs and Shady Point. This is west of Clarksville. It is just coming down cats and dogs like here, right along I-40. And man, isn't it tough to see? The rain has been just so doggone heavy with this that it's difficult to even make heads and tails out of what's going on. And this storm is going to be moving right into Clarksville, and those clouds look gnarly. Watch this. Hang on, y'all. This is look at that. Oh, holy cow. Now that's looking eastbound into Clarksville. So we've got the wind moving in now. You have those low clouds. We call them SLCs. They're scary looking clouds because there's not anything going on here. It may look like a wall cloud, but that's a shelf cloud. That's actually some of the cooler air that's pushing out of the storm here in the Clarksville area. Nothing's wrapped up. And again, that's looking out towards the east. Do expect a lot of wind when this comes through and the possibility of some wind damage. I don't think the hail's there. The rain is a big risk, though. Rain wise, man, guys, flooding is going to be a big deal. And nighttime flash flooding takes more lives than any other weather event combined. So, well, flash flooding in general does. So keep in mind, just because it's not just rain with this, this is some very, very heavy rainfall. And there's another round of rain, y'all, that comes through later tonight. I'll show you that on the model data real quick. Oh, look at the camera. Man, we just caught it, didn't we? We just caught the gust front move through. And here we go with the wind and the rain in Clarksville. Man, oh man. That's looking eastbound too. Wonder if we can get a shot looking west. I can't see anything right there. Let's go back to the radar, and it just swept through Clarksville. Here it is. So here's the town of Clarksville. I'm going to stick on this storm here for just a little bit, and until this thing moves on out. The leading edge is moving into Clarksville right now. It's going to be heading. I'm trying to find a westward view here. I don't see one. I see a lot that are moving east. Let's see here. One second. Let's get this one pulled up. I may just pull back up the east shot here because this is the east side of town. It's about to get it too. Let's see here. There we go. So this is looking east into Clarksville. So we're catching the gust front again, right? So That's as the storm moves in. This is looking east. That storm will come into Clarksville and give us some very, very heavy rainfall any moment now. It's really racing east fast, and much like the last storm that the last camera shot that we just saw, this thing's going to go from clear to I can't see anything really in just a matter of time. It's not going to take long at all. But I know you guys in Clarksville want to see the radar, and you can just look out the window and see what it looks like, right? So here's the leading edge. I'm showing the heaviest out there along West Clark Road and then West Main Street along Wire Road. Some of the heaviest is moving into North Montgomery Street, West Cherry Street, West Main Street. Here's North College Avenue. So getting up just north of Clarksville, out towards the College of the Ozarks, East Cherry Street. Looking at these storms in Main Street, Highway 21, it's just now getting into 40, and you can see that there on the camera. There's that low-hanging shelf cloud that we saw a moment ago as it starts tracking in, and then this shot's going to be filled up here in just a second with just very, very heavy rain. Matter of fact, here it comes. Watch this stuff. Watch how fast it changes, guys. We were just looking at this. It was all clear. It was all fine and dandy. And then this rain that comes in is just so torrential. And then the wind picks up with it, and then the visibility drops, and you really just can't see anything with this stuff as it comes through. And look how fast it is. I mean, this has been within the last what minute or so. This thing has gone from I can see the horizon to now I can't see jack, and then we're getting more, and we're not going to see anything here before too long. So that is moving into Clarksville, Jamestown as well, New Spadra, and then let's see that next sweep. Boy, it's right over us in Clarksville, isn't it? That one pixel there is really going. That's along East Poplar Street and Carter Street. Looks like Pine Street as well as Oak Street and Harris Road, South Circle Drive, and Cedar Street. I've got to the age where I need reading glasses now, so yeah, mid and late 40s are fun, aren't they? Poplar, East Main, running east. Lamar, we're about to get this stuff in Lamar. We haven't had it just yet. So all that has been gone over, right? Let's go to rotation. Let's see if we can find anything that's spinning. So we're back over on analyst now. We're going to look in at this thing real close. Here's Paris. I'm going to go to the latest scan, which is here. There's Knoxville, Clarksville. The thing I'm looking for are little indentions. I've got one here west of Lamar. I've also got one here to the north. Is anything spinning in those? And I don't see anything spinning. I do see some very strong winds out towards Harmony. That's probably 40, 50 miles an hour. And that matches up with the highest DBZ values here where we're looking at that dark purple here. The terrain is torrential, and so is the lightning and the thunder. And it looks like it may be trying to form some kind of bow there, doesn't it? Let's see. As it races north and northeast. You know what sucks with this though is it's like you're just going to keep getting more rain. Look at this south of Clarksville. It's going to rain nonstop for about an hour or so. That's a lot of rainfall. A lot. Let's back up back south. What do we got here? Thompson Road Bridge is closed due to water. That's in Cedarville. So that report just came through the Crawford County Emergency Manager. So that's going to be the case for a lot of us too. Now, when we get to the south, now we're in that warm air. Now this is where we're going to get some problems. I know it's storming in Clarksville, y'all, but this is where problems begin. And the first thing that pops out at me is this one right here. I don't like how it looks, and I don't like the way it's tracking. This is in western Scott County. This is an emerging supercell storm that is just south and west of Clarksville. There's one lined up behind that as well, and there's a couple east of Mena that are developing. So I want to really pay close attention to this storm that's moving into the Waldron area right now. It's southwest of Waldron, still a ways to go, but this is a storm that does have the potential to produce some wind damage and with time, hopefully not a tornado, but given the state of the atmosphere today, it's certainly going to be a possibility. I'm looking through here real quick. I don't see any RDOT cams in the immediate vicinity, and quite frankly, the cell reception's terrible there out in rural Scott County. If you're gone through Y City, you drive to Mena. I don't know if it's still like that, but I never could get cell reception through there. So why don't we do this? Let's isolate where the rotation is, and then we'll look at storm relative velocity so we can see where it's spinning, and then we'll see where it's going. So kind of cover all our bases here on this storm that's moving into Waldron. So this is the reflectivity. Here's where we are. This is where the rotation pocket is the greatest. It's east of Black Fork, moving northeast. You have a meso there on it already. And then let's go back to the radar. We can see where the hook is, right? And now let's go back to storm relative. We got rotation right there. So what I think is probably going to happen here is we're probably going to get a tornado warning eventually, probably for Scott County. And if this thing books it to the right, it's not moving right, it's moving north. If it moves hard right, it's going to ingest more of that low level spin and it'll really take off. So this is one to watch. It's in the early stages of forming. The radar beam's 2,400 feet above the surface here. If I tilt it up, you look at it, it's a lot tighter, right? We've got a deep mesocyclone here near Black Fork, and this is moving northeast towards Waldron. So if you're in Waldron, keep an eye on this sucker because it's going to be moving right towards you here in about the next, I'd say, 45 minutes to an hour. It's not going to be long at all. I'm just watching the trend of this thing. Where does this go with time? It's going to be awfully close to Waldron. I feel like Boonville's really worked over. I'm not sure how it's going to interact once it gets to that front. What tends to happen with these supercells when they cross warm fronts, um, they tend to be elevated. The tornado risk goes way down, and the hail threat goes way up. So I do think that there's a possibility here for some large hail once it crosses the front. But I'm most concerned about a tornado threat here, western Scott County. Now I do want to point out right now, as of 5:39, there are no tornado warnings for this area. So this is just an early heads up for you guys in Scott County, particularly you folks in Waldron, south of Cawthron, west of Bowles, west of Y City. This is an area to watch super, super close. I do think we get probably a tornado warning out of this, and I do think Waldron's probably going to be very close to the path of this thing. Early heads up for you guys in Waldron. Let's stay on it and we'll keep a close eye here as it moves through. But that's the first thing that I've noticed. Now I'm going to go back to the other radar source. Guys, I know Clarksville and Lamar, we got wind, but we don't have any spinning. So that's good. Once I get down here, I can see that thing really hooking out here in central Scott County. And the other thing that kind of bothers me with this is there's a lot of air here that's just unobstructed. I mean, just there's nothing there, right? So as long as the air mass here has free access to move in. Matter of fact, if you look close, watch these green colors here. I bet these things are probably getting sucked into the storm, into the inflow if we were to loop this. Let's see. I may be wrong. We'll see how it happens. I'm gonna hit play on this. Let's watch it come into frame. Probably have too many frames loaded to see the last few frames or so. But that'll be pulling into this emerging supercell. Not that one. We don't want winter weather radar. By the way, it could snow Saturday night. I don't think it's going to stick, but weird, right? So there's the pocket of rotation. It is looks like it's going to be specifically northwest of Tin Top, south of Beecham, southwest of Beecham, east of Black Fork, right here. That's the pocket of rotation. Look at it on another velocity image. Yep, right there. And then let's see how it looks here. So we do have one here in western Scott County. This is one that we need to keep a close eye on. Farther to the south, we already have larger supercells that are in progress. This is towards DeQueen as well as Nashville and Arkansas, moving northeast. This will affect Hot Springs in time. So in the Hot Springs area, heads up for you guys that are watching the feed here. We do have storms that are moving to you. This is completely unobstructed, right? So, I mean, we've got all kinds of hot air here. And I do mean hot. It's like 80 degrees there. And you guys in Rogers or Bentonville or even Fort Smith, what are you talking about, dude? It's in the 60s or 50s. No, it's in the 80s south of that warm front. It is super duper warm down there. So that is going to be something to watch. It looks like they just extended the warning. They're going to include Polk County, but this is going to be a severe thunderstorm warning on that storm due to some strong winds right in here. The rotation came down on that one farther to the south. But remember, radar beam is pretty high up, so it doesn't give us a real accurate representation of what's going on at the surface. This guy here is still problematic for us west of Waldron, right in here. I'm going to go back to analyst here, take another look at this. There's another close look at the storm. There it is. Just got it. Looks like, right? Yeah, yeah. The National Weather Service just now issuing a tornado warning. This is going to be for Scott, but they're not going to include, it does not look like they're going to include Sebastian County on this. They are going to include portions of western Logan County for the tornado warning. Sebastian's not in it. Western Logan County is in that area for the tornado warning. So going back over here, this was that cell that we were talking about, guys. So we knew this thing was going to tornado. We talked about it, what, 3, 4 minutes ago? And now here we go. We've got a tornado warning on the storm. So this one is moving west of Waldron on the current track. They've got it moving more north here. So Waldron, you guys at the moment are not in the tornado warning. That tornado warning here is going to move to the north, northeast. And then you can see here as this thing has been tracking. Let me zoom out here. I'm going to change this radar frame up too. I don't like how many frames I've got loaded. Man, that's an ugly storm. Ugh. Right there is where it's spinning. That Brawley, if you're watching from Brawley, you're in the immediate path and need to move to shelter now. This is in western Scott County, south and west of Waldron, to give you guys some context and perspective on where this thing is. See if I can measure this thing out from Waldron. This is going to be 14 miles west southwest of Waldron is where the tornado would be located. That's where the tightest rotation is, and that's where this is moving. So again, that's near Brawley, west of Beecham, in west central west central Scott County. I'm zooming in, and I can't find any roads. Now I like that because that tells me this is along the rural area of. Let me show you what I'm talking about here first, guys. That's the rural area here in the Washitas. That's Forest Road 784. I'm not seeing it in a populated area. I'm hoping it's out in the middle of the forest. Those are the best tornadoes that hit nothing. But let's see, new scan. Let's see where this thing goes. Wrapped up right here. Again, Brawley, you guys need to move to a safe place if you're watching this feed in the Brawley area. Looks like Angel Falls Road, especially. And then up to the north, if you guys are watching from Maple Shade Road, you need to be in your safe place now. Brawley, anywhere along Jones Creek Road, Poto River Dam, Side 11. And then running to the north. Now, the hail just, if we had hail, it just moved through. It was heavy rainfall. You're going to get calm, and then you're going to get the storm. That's the calm before the storm, which is essentially the rotation wrapping in behind the top of the supercell. The supercell is one updraft and then one downdraft. And again, the current track does appear to take this just to the west of Waldron. Let's go ahead and get a wide view first to see what's going on here because we did get another warning. It looks like this one's coming through for it looks like Johnson County as well as Pope County. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning that the Weather Service has issued. They issued this because of the wind damage risk. It's not the tornado risk with this, but it is the wind damage. That's going to be the bigger deal with this one. Go load that thing up. Doesn't look it's really loud though. I mean, the amount of lightning and thunder in this stuff is just wild. This is nasty out here east of Clinton too. Fairfield Bay, northwest of Greer's Ferry. We've got a really tight hook in that area. Let's go back here at home though and follow this thing a little bit closer. This is the storm near Waldron. I'm going to do it on Analyst. It's going to give us a better shot of seeing exactly where this is. It is current track. Keep in mind, the tornado would be right here in the center of the screen. I'm going to back this up. I'm going to go wider. So keep your eyes out there towards Black Fork. Watch it go forward here. Moving more north than east. Cawthron, you guys could be in the path of this thing as well. Man, if it the rain starting in Cawthron, it's going to be close on this one. There's a new scan. I'm curious to see. Let's see here. This tornado warning, you got 28 minutes left on it. They've got it moving northeast at about 40 miles an hour. It's a pretty quick moving storm, and I think it's moving more north than northeast. It's real close to Waldron. As it stands right now, it's going to be, where are we? We're 10 miles west now. 10 miles west southwest of Waldron is where this rotation is. Let's go to the normalized rotation here. This isolates where the air is spinning the most, right in here. I don't see anything that's like, oh, that's super bad. It looks like it's a very broad rotation, at least on this scan. We go over to storm relative. It's also looking like that. Base velocity. I don't see it completely wrapped up. Now, it's not to discount it. If you live in Cawthron or you live out towards um, south of Hahn, southeast of Bates. Definitely move to your safe spot till this thing moves through. Because even though it's not spinning that strong at the surface, there is this pretty strong meso aloft that could still produce a tornado really any second here, and that would be right here, um, just south of Cawthron, moving north northeast. Will it get up towards western Logan County? The sirens may be sounding in Logan County. Will it get into Booneville? Well, the atmosphere's worked over. It's going to get there, but it's probably going to go elevated once it crosses the warm front. So I think that we transition to more of a hail threat. When that happens is anybody's guess, but that's what's eventually going to happen with that particular cell. Let me get zoom out a little bit so we don't get too myopic on this. We've got it looks it stopped raining in Rogers and Bentonville. That's dandy. We've still got rain in Fayetteville going on. As far as any rotation goes, there's nothing going on in Northwest Arkansas at all in terms of rotation, and there wasn't earlier today. It was mostly a heavy rain event with the flash flooding threat. Moving south, I think the tornado threat is much, much lower here in Salisaw, west of Roland, Gans, even Fort Smith. I think the tornado threat's lower. South of that, now we're nasty. We're getting into this stuff that's not good. This is where the storms have been spinning throughout the day. You got looks like an emerging squall line trying to develop there towards Clarksville, east of town near Hagerville. But as far as the wind goes in this thing, let's see here. Let me take a look at that. We've got pockets of wind damage that are possible. The Weather Service saying on this it's moving northeast at 40. They're looking at 1 inch hail on this and winds close to 60. So this is marginal severe weather. This isn't a severe storm that's, um, you know, it's not high end, right? So it's severe. We could get wind damage, we could get hail out of it, but it's not as bad as some of the others. Okay, I'm gonna take you to back to this storm west of Waldron that we've been talking about. That has rotation on it and has a tornado warning. Cawthron, you guys are right there. It looks like it may be picking up a little bit just south of here. Let me try to recalibrate this again real quick. Tornado would be right here. Is the couplet tighter? It is rural. I mean, look at the terrain, right? Very rural part of Scott County. But Cawthron, you guys move to the safe spot until this thing moves over. I'm sure there's a very low hanging wall cloud that's here. Again, that's near Cawthron, west of Waldron. Using downtown Waldron for a center point here, we are now about 9 miles southwest of the town of Waldron. Going into Cawthron, though, let's get in there and let's get some idea of I don't know. There's a new scan. I can't help but look at the new scan first. It's still there. Did that thing move right? Let's see. It's definitely tightening up. Can you guys see that? And move it up a little more. See a little circle at the bottom of the screen. Watch this thing tighten up. So there's our rotation. There's the tornado warning. And now look, now we've got these bright yellow colors that are in there. So the rotation is tightening up on this just to the south of Cawthon. Is that Lake Hinkle that's there? I think. Um, okay, let's go back over here and take a look at this thing again. So again, tornado warning, western Scott County. Here's what it looks like on velocity and reflectivity. The tornado warning does include portions of Logan County, just a sliver of it though. And it looks like it does not include Sebastian at the moment. Look at this a little more here. So it just moved through Brawley. Yeah, it is Lake Hinkle. Look at me and my Scott County geography. So that's west of Denton and southwest of Cross Creek Mountain, Walker Mountain, out towards Round Mountain, Morgan Springs. Again, Cawthron, though, I know it's raining now, but that rotation is south of town. This is one you need to move to the hallway with. That's right there along the Poto River, Morgan Springs Road, also Cawthron Road, Stewart Lane, Highway 28, which runs east and west, McDaniel Lane, and then more to the east, looking at this stuff out there around Ashby Road and Ridge Road. The town of Oliver, Cawthron, move to your safe spot, guys. The rain's going to let up, and that's when this thing's going to start moving through. Another wide view of it. I'm curious to see here what the radar looks like because it is going to be encountering that front, and it should start to either weaken or become more elevated in time. Let me see here. It was really strong right there. And the last two scans almost gusted it out, didn't it? We lost our inbound winds. Strongest part of that storm is right there, southwest of Round Mountain, it looks like. Will it tick back up? We'll see. Um, let's go to, let's see here. I want to go back to reflectivity. Actually, I'm going to do a dual screen. Sorry, this is going to look wonky for a second. I want to see two things at the same time. So now I'm looking on the left side. I've lost my TV touch. That side over there has got the reflectivity, and the side down here has got the wind speeds on it. So where are we? We are in central Scott County. I'm looking at both sides. On the right side, I have the rotation. On the left side is where I have the radar. And if we isolated it here, you would look at it right over Walker Mountain, and that lines up right in here. It's a very broad area of rotation, though. It's not something that looks like a tornado is imminent. It could be. I mean, look, the radar beam's high up here. It's not something to mess around with on a day like today, but as of right now, I don't see anything that indicates that a tornado is actually on the ground in this area. What I'm actually curious about is this stuff. This kind of nuts. So right in here, there seems to be like there's nothing on reflectivity though. So what I'm wondering is another scan that came through. I'm wondering if something's trying to go up in this area here, like a new tower or something that's going to cause a storm. Hmm. So we'll have to watch that if anything develops northeast of Waldron. Let's go back to a single screen. So we're back to reflectivity now. The tornado warning still on this storm. Going back to analyst. Let's get another close look at where this is and where it's headed. Pretty much right over Cawthron now. Go over here. I'm gonna tilt the radar up near Waldron to see if I can see any returns. Uh, really interesting. I need to watch that area. There could be something going up. Another way that I can tell when storms are happening, it's still daylight out there, and where stuff's going to develop, is I'll take a look at the satellite imagery, and I'll look for overshooting tops. So what happens in these storms when you get them going, the the top of the updraft just pops right up through the troposphere. And so, especially in the evening, it's really kind of cool because you can see the shadows on these things where the sun's setting and it hits the updraft. It actually creates a shadow effect, and it really will tell you where the strongest storms are. So that's what you guys are looking at here. And I'm going to go back over. Look at these things bubbling up. I mean, this is just wild. Let's see if I can hit pause on this. Go to the aliens. This is the very last frame. Look at that storm that's out there around Hartford and Monroe. Holy moly, that's a strong storm, isn't it? Um, let's go back here. I'm gonna go back and forth on this. That's out here to the west. There's our tornado warnings. That's the one. They've trimmed it back now. They're still including northern Scott County. Kind of think if it keeps its trend though, I think the warning may get canceled on it. We'll see. It's getting close to the warm front. Back over to our clouds. Um, that's a high overshooting top here, and then down to the south we've got a big one here near Umpire, and then to the north we have that one that's east of St. Paul. And what's crazy about this, I actually was showing my son this earlier. Um, this is the mesoscale sector here of the GOES satellite that's above our head, and what I can do is loop this. Get a wide view here. We'll lose some towns, but that's not really what I'm going after anyway. It's going to kind of flash while it loads here. And give it a second. But you can see how close the clouds um, have they been bubbling. It looks like you're trying to make spaghetti, right? And you got the little bubbles that are coming up from the bottom. That's what's been going on. The atmosphere is convection. It is the same principle basically as cooking spaghetti and boiling water. But you can see how these overshooting tops blow up in the storm and then they die off. What's interesting is you can also see these waves that are moving across parts of Arkansas. Look, it looks like an ocean, right? So those are gravity waves. They're coming from a storm that's down here in Texas. Isn't that wild? That was something cool you can see with the satellite data once the GOES got launched. Um, looks like a pretty good healthy storm there near Mountain Home. Let's see here. I'm just looking at some of these rain total. Man, we've got a lot of rainfall. That's the one that's out there near Conway. That was a robust storm. Same with the one near Clinton. That one tried to do something in Ozark. And then we get to the one that we're watching right now to the south. Here it is, this one right here. That blew up. We got the tornado warning. I don't know, guys. It looks like it's trended down a little bit. It looks like west of Greenwood, though, we may have a trend up. Let's see. That's that's the risk area today. Anytime you got red on the map, it's no bueno. Back to here, and then let's go to here. They've got the warning going for 16 more minutes. It's still got rotation. It just moved over Cawthron. Literally just moved over the town. See it? What I want to do is see if any debris got thrown in the air. Does it move through? Mm-mm, it didn't. So there's nothing on this that indicates that we actually have debris in the radar beam. Well, another flood issue popped up here. What's this one? This is multiple roads in area closed due to flooding, overwhelming drainage ditches. Holy cow! Listen to this. Half a foot of water on Highway 45 and Highway 96. Half freaking foot of water. Good grief! Do not drive into that. It doesn't take much at all to move your car off the road. I don't care if you've got the biggest truck ever. You're going to get swept off the road in this stuff. That's half a foot of water. There's a lot of force. Be very careful. And that's busy highways here. We're talking about 45 and 96. Man, not good. The rotation's weaker on this. I feel like they're probably not going to reissue it just based on what I'm seeing right now. I think as it gets into that rain cooled air, we should start to lose some of the rotation on it. Farther to the south, I don't see anything else that catches my mind. I'm curious about the storm in Poto and Fanshawe, but I think it's in rain cooled air. I'm not really that worried about it. It's gonna make a lot of noise. It may get some small hail out of it, but as far as the tornado threat goes, I don't think that one is there at least at the moment. And then Cawthron, this has been the storm of the day so far. That rotation pocket is go to the latest scan, which we are. Here's Waldron. The rotation is still about 9 miles west of town. It didn't jog east, did it? It moved more north. If it moved more east, it would be able to ingest more of the energy in the low levels of the atmosphere. Since it moved more north, it didn't, and that's good, right? So let's see if we have anything going on. A lot of times what happens with these storms is you have a storm that occludes, and so you've got it spinning, right? And then the initial one will die off, and then the southern one takes over. That may be what this thing's trying to do. This is an old frame, so I'm going to step through this, but I want you to watch down there around Black Fork, right in here. So the first one's up here, and then watch down here. So that was the initial storm, and then we start getting another something something that's right in here, huh? Let's see what that looks like. It'd be on the backside of the storm. That's interesting. That could be air pushing down, collapsing. Um, More of a wind damage threat, I think, on that side. I don't think they're going to reissue this tornado warning just based on what I'm looking at. They're probably going to let it roll about another 13 minutes or so and then cancel it. We'll see. Got another water report here that just came in. Water running over area roadways. That is 1 mile east of Lavaca. It always floods in that area. So if you live here, you know what I'm talking about. Man, there's going to be a lot of flooding reports out of this thing. Goodness. Back down to the south, we do have tornado warnings here. It doesn't include Polk County, but east of Wicks, southeast of DeQueen, more tornadoes down here in northeast Texas. And then we have more in central Arkansas out towards the Batesville area. Pocket stronger winds there out towards Dover, too. That's moving northeastward. Okay, wide view of this thing again. So here's where we are. Here's where we're going. And you're thinking, hey, the rain's over. It's not. We're going to get more. Um, Look at all these flooding reports here in Missouri. This is out around Stone, Missouri. Crane Creek flooded the Crane Creek City Park. Never been there. Might be a nice place. Might not be. This is west southwest. In Greene County, water was now 5 feet and still rising. I can't pronounce the name of this. Boy Des Arc. Boy. I don't know. And then farther north of Springfield, roads closed. Report from public flooding. Southeast of Springfield, 6 inches of water over the road. That's Highway 60. Another one in Missouri is Habitat for Humanity West Plains has a foot of water in it. Jeez, that's terrible. Willow Springs Road here is impassable. Reason I'm pointing this out is because they've been getting rain longer than we have. This is what's going to happen here as far as rain totals go. When we get more and more and more rainfall, we're going to get more and more flooding reports, and that's what we've already started seeing with this. Um, I'm going to take you back into this storm here. Oh, they did. They canceled it. So the tornado warning did come off the storm. It is encountering the warm front. That tells me a couple of different things, guys. First, it tells me that as the storms move pretty much near Logan County, let's call it a line from Boonville to Poto, that we're going to see the rotational threat come down some as it encounters some cooler air on it. Doesn't mean that there's not still a mesocyclone aloft. There still very well could be, and we still could be looking at a hail threat. The tornado threat has come down on that though, and Weather Service did cancel it, and that's kind of what I thought they would do. Just by looking at that couplet that was there, it's just not there anymore, so they let it go. Smart guys and gals. Out around Dover, not really seeing much here in Pope County. Fayetteville, here we go again. I mean, again, we're north of the warm front here, so we do have hail risk. They've got 1 inch hail on this thing southwest of Springdale, and it's so loud. Oh my goodness. Willow, our golden, is not happy. Kihei is the dumb one. Now, if you have two golden retrievers, you have one that's like smart, and you have one that's kind of got a couple screws loose. You know what I'm talking about, right? They're just dumb teddy bears. They love everybody. They slobber all over you. Um, and Kihei's like that. In fact, his name means teddy bear in Hawaiian. Hawaiian. I said it right. Yeah. Willow hates storms. She's kind of the one that's a little cranky. She has not been happy today. I saw her and she barely looked at me. She kind of gave me the side eye. Kihei just came up to me and licked me because he doesn't even know it's raining outside. But if you have some dogs, they're going to go nuts in Tawnytown and Johnson and Springdale just because of this heavy rainfall and maybe even some hail. With it being 1 inch hail, let me look at this. Ooh, you know what? We could get a severe thunderstorm warning in Washington County out of this thing. How long has it been hailing here? Let's see. Back this bad boy up. Am I going to crash the system? I hope not. There we go. That's not working for me. Get another source. I don't like that. Go back up here into Fayetteville. Flash flood warnings. This is the cell here. That heavy rainfall is out towards Steele on Highway 84. So that's Wheeler Road. That's just west of Johnson Mill Boulevard. Here's Johnson. So you know when you're driving south on 49 by Johnson, and then the road goes like that, and you can feel it. My old car, I thought I was going to ramp it like Dukes of Hazzard style. But you know what I'm talking about. I think there used to be a landfill there, and some of that's actually subsided, and that's why there's that dip that's there. So we're just west of that out towards Wheeler. So this is just northwest of Westview Meadows, Highway 90, 893. What roads are over here? Let's get some roads. That makes more sense. Kensington Cove, Sheffield Street, Westminster Lane. Probably getting some hail going on here. We're definitely getting that heavy rainfall. That's along Little Wildcat Creek. So South Barrington Road. So let me see where Barrington is, where it meets Tawnytown. So here's Tawnytown and here's Barrington Road, right? So you got the post office here and the church up in this area as well. As this storm moves through, the heaviest is going to be passing right along 112 on the west side of town. We probably have some RDOT cams that are out there. IDOT, that would be a fun one. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Let us find out. We will look to the north. That's from Watkins. I'm not impressed. How about from Don Tyson looking north? That looks terrible. Of course, anytime you're driving on I-49 when it's raining, people don't know how to drive. None of them do. Well, some of them do, just not the ones that are around me. Of course, that could mean I'm the bad driver, but I usually go the speed limit because I'm old and I like to save gas. Headlights are on. Some people have their hazard lights on. They just gives you an idea of how heavy some of that rainfall is that's out there. Back over the radar map here. Apple Road, Looking at it, this is pretty much out towards Harbor where this is going. There's Sunset, and then there's Jones Road, Kevin Lane, or, Furnace Avenue, Firefly Catch Avenue, Tall Oaks Loop, Founders Park Drive, Harlan Avenue, and then moving north, there's Harbor right here. So there's the school right in the middle of the screen. So yeah, we're gonna get this. This is gonna come right over Harbor High here with heavy, heavy rainfall, maybe even some small hail. Not severe, but boy, it's gonna have a lot of lightning in it. And this stuff has had a lot of lightning as it's moved through. So that's Springdale. Where does this go afterwards, right? So let's look. It's just so much flipping rain. Why can't we spread this stuff out? Why do we have to get it all at once? Man. The long and short of that is there's some hail in this storm, and I do think that there could be up to quarter size at most. It's borderline as far as the Weather Service issuing a warning on it. They're probably not going to. Remember, these are elevated storms, so this 1 inch hail is happening higher in the atmosphere. The beam here is what's the beam? Let me go back to actual beam. Golly, though, I don't know. I can't. I gotta think there's some hail that's coming through. Um, the beam's about 4,800 feet above the surface, so it may be larger hail aloft, but it may not be making its way down. That's pretty. It's pretty gnarly there, though, huh? Hey, there's Mama Z's. So that gives you some reference points, right? So you've got Mama Z's here near Tawny Town, and then here's Harbor High, and then here's Naturals Ballpark, Children's Hospital. There's the Links in Springdale, Tyson Rec Complex. So it's basically going to be moving over Harbor High and then out towards Huron Crest. That's on the southeast side of Lake Springs, Elm Springs, out there by the lake. So we're getting that moving north, and then eventually this thing gets into Camelot neighborhood, Spring Hill, Stonecrest, Oak Grove, southern Benton County. There's the Creeks RV Park out towards Beauchalet and Cave Springs. And then that may actually, is that going to track due north up into Rogers? It may. Let's see. Yeah, I think so. So this one's going to be floating north, and it will have a. I think it does have a hail risk, especially with that little black pixel that's there. So there probably is some chunkier hail in this ish. We haven't had a lot of hail. It's under an inch, so it's not severe, and the wind's not there either. So there's no real reason to issue a warning at the moment. It's borderline. Their new one just came up at 1.17, so it's a borderline severe storm. It wouldn't surprise me if for some reason a warning did come out on this. If they did issue a warning, the path is probably going to run Johnson, Springdale north up 49 through Lowell and through Rogers, right up and down the I-49 corridor there with heavy rainfall. That's probably why things are moving so doggone slow on 49. It's really not. It always moves slow this time of day. Actually, it's 6:10. It usually lessens up a little by this time, doesn't it? Um, let's see here. Zoom back in on this. So you've got what's that? 412. So this is coming right up towards Lake Elmdale, and then Lake Road. So you got 112, which runs on the west side of town. That's where that speed trap is. And then east of that, where you get towards Harbor, that's where the storm is, and that's where some of the heaviest rain is. If you don't have the hail, you're going to hear it. There is a lot going on as far as the hail goes. Sorry, with the lightning and the thunder. I may even get some power bumps in here, but I won't lose internet this time because I got it on backup this year. What? Now these lights aren't because I figure you don't need to see my face anyway. So this thing should just stay going with the web up. I guess we'll find out though when it moves through. So heavier showers and storms. It looks like let's go back here. Elm Springs, Oak Grove. There's Elm Springs Road. There's Lake Elmdale. So it's actually just east of Huron Crest there, coming up towards County Line Road, Silent Grove. This is the Elm Springs exit. So you got Walmart, what, right there? And you got Macadoodles over here on the south part. There's Harbor Avenue. And then as we go north from exit 73, we start getting into, man, this is a lot of rainfall. I got to imagine that. Oh, this is a cool shot. This is the 612 interchange. So first, let me show you where we're at. Let me zoom out. So there's 612 right there, right? So here's what it looks like from these RDOT cams. Wild, huh? Look at that. That is gnarly looking. And you're probably they look kind of scary. I mean, mom texted me. I had friends texting, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Dude, it's just a lot of rainfall." I didn't say dude to my mom, although my kids would call my wife bruh. I'm not really sure what the whole bruh thing is about, but I do call the other meteorologists in town bruh because it seems to get on their nerves, and sometimes that's fun, I guess, right? Oak Grove is where the heaviest is. That's going to be moving north up towards 49, west of Bethel Heights. So County Road, what are we at? When you're Ball Road east, that's west of North 40th. Um, here's North 40th, and then Pine Woods. West side of Elm Springs is really where the heaviest is coming down. Man, is it coming down right now? That's going to be running north out towards um, Sant and Antonio Avenue, Bob Mills Road. That's easier to pronounce. And then North 56th Street, Fawn Drive. Let me move you. We've got flash flood warnings, obviously. I mean, it's been raining nonstop. Fitzgerald Lane, Saddle Ridge Place, and then Clear Springs Avenue, Littlefield Avenue. This is moving up to the north, and we'll be moving up towards Poppy Avenue, North 56th Street, up towards County Line Road. Looks like that was a new scan. Let's zoom out of here real quick. There we go. Ooh, man, over Lowell too, huh? Is that recent? Let's see how that thing looks. That was the first round. Yeah, that thing's come up in intensity, hasn't it? Sure has. Again, that's right there over Lowell. So we got some heavy showers and storms that are out there towards Monroe Avenue, and mostly on the east side of Lowell. So this is more like the JB Hunt side. And again, those clouds look terrible. You can see the horizon. The lifting condensation level is actually really low. It looks like cars are stopping on the interstate here because they can't drive. I'm not sure why you would want to stop on the inside lane. Um, or maybe even stop at all. I guess if you can't see, you can always slow down, but stopping, if you're on the interstate, might not be the best idea if you want to keep your back bumper on. Um, if you could safely pull over, I guess so. I always hate pulling over on the interstate. I had a flat tire once, and it was actually out here by the Elm Springs exit. And man, I about had a heart attack trying to change that thing on the side of the road. It's awful. Um, so in Lowell, we have the heaviest on North Bloomington Street out towards East Monroe. So you know where this is? This is right over the Starbucks that's there. Um, and North Old Wire Road running down East Monroe out towards First Tee here, just west of 265 in Lowell. Pretty much north of the post office, it looks like. Of course, it's coming down just about everywhere, and that's going to be moving up towards Pleasant Grove Road. So this is the east side of Pleasant Grove, right towards that's First Street. That's South Third Court, and then moving to the west, you got Honeysuckle, and then here's East Pleasant Grove Road. There's Empire Street. There's Fitness One, where I'm going to be teaching spin in the morning at 9:30. And then west of there, it looks like it falls off around Dixieland, so it's not quite as bad in that area. And then out around Silent Grove, we've still got this stuff going on North 40th Street. That's near the Wagon Wheel exit now. So it's if you imagine it going from south to north, right up through, was that Puppy Creek that runs up? I bet Puppy Creek is flooded. You know, they just finished that bridge thing down there. You know where it dips down, kind of north of 612. I hope that thing doesn't wash out of this. Hey, looky there. We just got new severe thunderstorm warning now on this storm. This does include Rogers. It includes Lowell. It's on the storm that's currently moving through. Guys, it's the one that we've been focusing in on. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Benton County. It's the central and eastern part of the county. This does include Beaver Lake, Lowell, Elm Springs in the path of this. And again, guys, the interstate's a terrible place to be right now. The cars are just stopped out there. That's northbound. Let's get back to radar, though, since we do have that severe thunderstorm warning on it, and focus in on this. And let's see here. Flash flood warning. Man, we got all kinds of stuff going on. What a mess. Um, Spring Creek, Silent Grove, Puppy Creek. There's the Springdale bypass. So it's essentially coming right over the bypass now. I'm not sure how long I've been talking, but I told my wife I was going to do a quick update, and I think that was like that was an hour ago. Man, it's interesting though to watch these storms, isn't it? And the technology, this is just amazing. Thinking about my, geez, 25 years forecasting weather around here, we've come a long way from where we used to be. Traffic slow and stopped here, not surprisingly, with that heavy rain that's coming down um, from Lowell and then the Oakwood area. Let me see here. I'm just curious what this is going to look like from. How about the embassy? This is looking north from embassy. Man, aren't they ugly clouds? All right, so there's the heaviest part of the storm running from Apple Blossom north up towards South Bloomington, out there towards the City Hall in Lowell. This is right near JB Hunt, basically, right over the building. There's Bellevue. There's that terrible intersection where they decided to close this week. That was cool. 264 running east-west, and then Spring Creek Road. Um, you can never make a left turn here when there's traffic. So if you guys live in this area, you know what I'm talking about. Looks like that's moving more northeast though, out towards Montenay, and then the worst it looks like it's over in Town. We've been talking about this area a lot, and now that we have the warning on it, we've really covered it. We know there's no tornado threat here. We do know there's a wind risk. We also know that there's a hail risk with it on that storm. So wide view again, Lewis. Let's back out. Let's talk about what else is going on. Here's another wide view of the storm. Let's get super wide on this, and then let's loop it, and let's see what we got cooking. This is about how many frames do I have loaded here? I'll tell you in a second. It goes up to 612, 4. So I got about an hour and a half of rainfall on this. So this is how this has trended over the last hour and a half. And guys, what stinks is we're actually going to get more rain tonight. That's going to cause more flooding. Rain's a good thing. We need the rain. We don't need it all in 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. And we're getting it all in about 3 days time. So it's a real quick one here as far as how fast this is coming down. So let's jog over to analyst and back out of this thing, and let's just see if we got any rotation going on here. Here's a wide view. I'm going to loop this one too. What's this? This is another water running over area roadways. That was Lavaca. We know it floods there. Here's the loop. Looking for any discrete cells that catch my eye. One near Waldron took a little bit of a right turn. Maybe we should look at that one again. We do have some stuff coming into Fort Smith too. Think it's rain cooled though. It's going to struggle to do any tornadoes, but some heavy rainfall and some hail is going to be possible. Matter of fact, hail report came in. That's broadcast media. I wonder which one of my friends. I wonder if that was Scott or Dan or Darby. Um, hmm. Or maybe it was one of the storm chasers, one of those news cars with stickers. Um, that's out around Lowell, so Lowell northeast. You can see the darker here. That's where, man, that's so heavy. That rain is so heavy. Man alive. All right, let's go to Waldron. Let's see what's going on here, guys. You know, you got the rain. We have some small hail. It looks like it's just over half an inch. It is a loft. It doesn't seem like it's at the surface. Looking at this, I'm gonna back this up just a bit here. Remember that tornado warning and that mezzo and how I said there could be a mezzo that's still there? It is still there. Hang on, let me go back. And then go forward. See, it's still there. It's right there. So you still have something aloft that's spinning. Um, It would be southeast of Abbott and southwest of Boonville, just south of Washburn. Again, though, it's encountering the warm front, moving across it, so it should go more elevated and lead to more of a hail risk than anything. What do we got? Another flood report here. Flash flooding the intersection of Wire Road and Twisted Oak Lane. That is going to be northwest of Ozark. So we do have some water covering the road there. I'm telling you guys, flooding's going to be a big deal for us. We got more rain moving in tonight. More rain, another wave of rainfall. Can I pull that thing up? Let me see if I hit the right button on this. Maybe, is it this one? It is. Okay. So let's just look at this and see how this is going to play out. Here's where is this where we are? This is 20Z. That's not where we are. We're going to go 23 Zulu right now. I got a Zulu clock too on the wall, so I can tell you, I don't have to do the conversion in my head. Let's see. I'm going to go to the very latest frame, and then I'm going to step through time here. Can't really tell, but it's out west. This is the HRRR model. Let's go to the North American model. This is the 18 Zulu run. So here's where we are. These are the storms that are ongoing now. So this is this is 8 o'clock's time frame. So this is 7, and then this is going to be 6. So here's where we are, right? So we got these storms initialized pretty good. I mean, you can see Mina. I didn't go all the way back to the initialization time and compare it to the surface chart, but it does look like it's going pretty good here as far as the model matching what's actually happening on radar. So this is cruising through time at 7 o'clock, 8, 9. By 9, it's all gone in western Arkansas. Little Rock still going down. Searcy, a mess. But for western Arkansas, it's over. Look at this though. Here we go again. Another big. Look at that. It's rained again, guys. This is 9:10 in the morning tomorrow. So that next push of rain starts to arrive. I've got it coming in. I'm thinking 6 or 7 in the morning. It doesn't look severe, but it's going to be another big soaker. Now, what's going to blow your mind maybe is watch what happens on the left side of the screen. Do you guys see those colors? What in tarnation is happening? That's snow. That it's mixing with snow. Now the ground's too warm and the air's too warm, so I don't think it's going to stick at all. But this is 22Z. This is coming up Saturday night into early Sunday. We could be looking at some snow mixing with. Why do we have to have 4 seasons in one day? Can't we spread these things out? Man. Back on radar here, and I'm going to take a little bit of a break here since we've got a little bit of a lull as far as the tornado threat goes. I still would keep an eye on this. I think as it moves north, it's going to struggle to produce a tornado, but just keep in mind there is still some mid-level spinning that's going on here. That's moving close to Boonville, maybe even Paris. It's just going to be tough to really get this thing going as it moves farther north and encounters some of that cooler air. Lots of hail reports coming in here up and down the I-49 corridor from Rogers. These are all under 1 inch, sub 1 inch. So show what I'm talking about. Up and down I-49. So we've got it at quarter size or less. So quarter size is usually when it starts to damage your car. So it looks like we're just under that right now. But still some very heavy rain that's coming down in Rogers. And remember, we've still got some. We've been hit so much in Rogers. If you think about it, in 2019, we got hit twice last year. It's just been we've had a lot of bad weather in Rogers lately, and we have the bad weather moving through now. But this is not anything to be concerned with as far as a tornado goes on this. I'm gonna try to show you what this thing. If I can get a camera that does well. Let's see here. It doesn't do well, but it shows you. This is the Oakwood overpass. So this is what are we looking northbound here? So you're looking at the storm. So on the top right of the screen would be the Pleasant Grove Walmart, I suppose. Look at the heavy traffic still. Looks like cars are stopped. Someone probably crashed. And then back over here, you can see where that heavy rain is located. But as far as the wind goes, some gusty winds. There's a little pocket of wind between Rogers and there's nothing that's rotating. It's gonna be loud though. There's a lot of lightning and thunder in that stuff. On the east side of Rogers. Curious where this is in Rogers. Let's check it out. There's Little Flock. There's Lowell. It's not really over downtown Rogers at all. We just had it move through downtown. It's more Little Flock right now. So backing out a little bit for some context. So here's 62 and there's 94. So the Walmart Air Force, I mean, the Rogers Airport is located right about here, south of Pleasant Hill. There's North 2nd Street. Here's Northeast Hudson. So this was the area, by the way, this area is one that got hit like twice last year, out towards Little Flock. So that's tracking northeast up towards Walnut Hill. And then you got another one here that's developing out towards Lowell. So severe thunderstorm warning on this storm. They issued it on hail up to quarter size. It's iffy on whether or not you get a lot of quarter size hail. It's booking it too. The hail reports that have come in have mostly been under an inch. It's really loud though. I'm telling you, man. Okay, I'm going to switch gears now and go back over here. And then let's look at a wide view of this thing. So we have that severe thunderstorm warning. And then we have these storms that we're watching down here to the south. And that storm near Boonville is the remnant one from earlier. Near Magazine, some gusty winds. Nothing to me that indicates it's severe at the moment. We've got flash flooding all over the place. Mount Ida, Norman, looks like there's a tornado warning down there around Murfreesboro, which is kind of where we thought a lot of them would be, is tracking through the middle part of the state. But again, the flash flooding is going to be a major deal for us here. We've had just too much rain in such a short amount of time. I'm going to see if I can do storm total precip on this. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, you can. Holy cow. Let's check this out, huh? Look at this out towards McCurtain. Man, oh man, that's heavy. Gonna see if I could try to sample it here. 6 inches of rain. Good grief. And moving the radar around. Let me do this. Can you guys see that? Probably not. It's that's 6 inches of rain near McCurtain. I'll just call it out while I move it around. So look in the center of the screen, and then out towards Muldrow, storm totals are close to 5 inches of rain. And then when you get into Lavaca and Charleston, it looks like near Ozark, we've had close to 5 inches of rain out of this. Farther north, near West Fork, we're running 6 inches, half a foot of rain. Southwest of West Fork, near Devil's Den. Oh my goodness, Devil's Den has had 6.66 inches of rain. Put the Ouija boards up, y'all. So expect some flooding out towards that area. 6 inches of rain near Elkins, and then as you move farther north, close to 3 inches of rain out towards XNA, close to 4 inches of rain. It's been a lot of rain. This gives you an idea, though. I'll turn this off, but these little streaks where the rain has been training over and over and over again. These are the little ribbons here where the flooding is going to be the worst. So we're talking some significant flooding here from near the White River, just east of Fayetteville, and then back down through Devil's Den, getting into Natural Dam, and then back down through Salisaw, the Arkansas River Valley, and McCurtain and Red Oak. Didn't get quite as much rain in Poto, um, which is kind of crazy to think about. We didn't get that much rain. It was only 2 inches of rain. That's a lot of rain. South of Hartford. What bothers me about the flooding here, though, is the terrain. You get that terrain running off in the valleys, and that can cause some real nightmare problems as far as flooding goes. Ozark, I would expect to see more flooding here. You can see the streaks, though, the general path that these storms have taken, the individual supercells or clusters that have been moving on through. Going back to that Oakwood overpass, I just caught that. Look at that. You can see how low those clouds are on the horizon. Kind of gnarly, huh? Let's go. I don't want that one. Let's go this one. We're gonna do 1 hour. 1 hour rainfall totals. That one storm in Scott County in 1 hour. Holy cow! This is what is this? Almost 2 inches of rain in just 1 hour's time. Those are some incredible rain rates. This is the rain that we've seen in the last 1 hour, and man, it's just a lot in a short amount of time. Turn this one off here. I'm gonna go ahead and hit loop on this again. They cut back the severe thunderstorm warning in Benton County. They've just got it now out over Avoca and looks like Walnut Hill, Brightwater, um, out towards Leetown Road. Man, hasn't Pea Ridge just blown up? I mean, y'all have everything now. Y'all have a Casey's. Now, if we could just get a QT somewhere on 49, my life would be complete. Um, don't think that's gonna happen yet. Of course, I know some of y'all want a Bucky's. I got too much pride to put a Bucky sticker on my car, but God love you if you're one of them that does. And if you wear a Bucky's t-shirt, cool. Boonville, we've got this storm moving through. Let's see here. No rotation on it. Some wind though. Another scan doesn't show anything either. So that looks okay. And then Fort Smith right now, we just have heavy rainfall. We don't see there's no rotation or hail on any of that stuff. So that's what's happening. We got storms in Hot Springs. This storm's probably going to tornado. I bet you the atmosphere is a lot more volatile here, and we could probably, yeah, look at that. That's going to go. We'll probably get a tornado warning on this. That's going to track towards Lake Ouachita and Hot Springs. So that's going to be something to watch. We've also got tornado warnings near Murfreesboro. So those storms are going to move through the central part of the natural state. As they move north and encounter the warm front, though, they are going to weaken some. Real quick, I'm curious to see if there's anything going on here near London or Dardanelle. Not really. Some gusty winds near Magazine, though. Just nothing really spinning. It's fine by me. And then we got that warning that's going to expire here in northern Benton County, just east of Pea Ridge. So again, what happens next with all this stuff? Well, the storms are going to continue tracking across the area. That's going to roll on through the evening. Another wave moves through tonight into tomorrow morning. Back edge of this sucker has some snow that moves in with it, and it mixes with rain. It's more of a novelty. Like, can you guys believe this is really happening? It's not going to be anything that causes any travel problems or anything like that, but it gives you an idea of how strong the system is and just how fast this thing has moved through and how fast things change too, right? So I'll keep an eye on this stuff. And if I've seen anything pop up on here, I may just jump back on here. But the flooding is the big issue. Do not drive over flooded roadways. It doesn't matter how many times meteorologists say it. Someone's always like, I got a big truck, I can drive through. You can't. You're going to get pulled out and it's going to suck. Don't do it. Your insurance agent's not going to like you. You may even die in it. Don't drive into flooded roadways. It's the number one killer for severe weather. It's not as sexy as something like a hurricane or a tornado, right? But flash flooding is nature's number one killer out there, especially driving into flooded roadways at night. Be very careful tonight, because we're getting more rain that's moving through later on tonight. So that's going to do it for me for right now. Keep an eye on the storms. Thanks for watching them with me. We haven't had any big storms locally in a while. Any bad severe weather like this. We had that one tornado warning. No reports of damage. If I get any pictures or anything like that, I'll be sure to post them on the Facebook as well. You guys have an awesome evening and a good weekend. If we get anything else going on, I'll be back on. See you then.